Good morning, everybody. I wanted to talk to you today about the journey that we've had in our school in terms of introducing alarm, the process of alarm, and some of the statistical data that drove our journey through the teaching and learning, development of our teaching and learning processes. Often in schools, when you talk to staff and you talk about fundamental change in terms of approach to teaching and learning, and the quality of your HSC results or the quality of your academic performance, they'll talk to you about the kids. You know, it's the kids' issue. You're getting better kids. That's what's driving your improvement in results. So I put this first slide up here because I want to actually debunk that from the beginning before I actually talk about some of the improvements that have been in the school. I put together the data around the lower, middle and higher achieving kids based upon their school certificate performance. We get that data at the end of when they leave in year 12, and I was able to aggregate them into percentages. I think the thing that's noticeable about this data is that the percentage of lower, middle and higher achieving kids has fundamentally changed very little over the time that I've been at the school, and I arrived at the school in 2007. So I think we can debunk that particular myth around the fact that we're getting better students. We're getting a very similar crop of students every year, and the very nature of the school and the area that we're in will always dictate that we'll have that broad range, and we're a very truly comprehensive school. The one thing I suppose on the right hand side here, on my right hand side here, you'll notice that our Band 6 results in terms of quanta have improved over that period of time significantly. And I guess the issue around why we started our journey in terms of looking at a teaching and learning process, a whole school teaching and learning process in the school, was that in 2006 there were only 18 Band 6 results in the school. 18 Band 6 results was about 1.6% of the total number of papers set, and it had the school ranked as the second bottom school in the district in terms of HSC performance, which clearly, when I arrived in 2007, was a major focus for me. We started our process in 2007 with a discussion around the Sydney University information that we'd received. They'd done some data analysis and they'd done some discussion groups with kids at the school, and we started to develop our process, a vision of what we wanted our teaching and learning to look like, and how we were going to deliver it, and how it was, and the sort of time frame that was going to operate within. So 2007 for us was a planning year. We had a small group of acolytes, dare I call them, who were prepared to join us and look at the methodologies that we put into practice and use those in the classroom and see what happened. Obviously there's a small increase in Band 6 results, and I have to say to you, Band 6 results aren't the be-all and end-all of this process. They're a measure, but they're not a great measure from my perspective, but unfortunately in terms of data, it's the only public measure that we have, so I obviously want to share them with you. And then obviously through to now, to 2012, where we had 149 Band 6s, which represented about 12%, 11 to 12% of our results, which put us in the top 200 schools in terms of Band 6 results, percentage of Band 6 results against paper set. Next slide, please. I think the more important data is value-added data. To me, the value that you can add to students from where they start to where they finish is really what we're all about. And we get that data every year based upon their improvement from school certificate to higher school certificate. If I could just explain this graph to you, the first column there is the school in this particular year. Now this is 2007, so this is the value added that the school had for 2007 for our high achieving students. It was negative 1 point something. This column here represents the last 5 years, so in fact it was a little better than the last 5 years, but the last 5 years were pretty ordinary. This represents our like school groups. Our like school groups is a nebulous group of schools that the department never tell us who they are, but we are compared directly to them because we must obviously match in terms of socio-economic type of kids we get. They're our high achieving students, these are our middle achieving students, and these are our low achieving students. So in fact, our value-added data for all groups was negative. Clearly that's not acceptable, and it's not sustainable in an environment where not only do we have to attract enrolments, but we wanted to become a high-performing school. So that was 2007, and that was the beginning of alarm journey. It wasn't called alarm in those days. It wasn't called anything, as a matter of fact. But it was a deliberate whole school initiative that we were planning to put in place and drive over an extended period of time, probably 4 to 5 years at minimum. So in 2008, by 2008 we had broadened out the number of teachers that were involved in this program, and we were obviously keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that our value-added data would start to improve. And in 2008 we in fact saw that. We went into the positive in both our higher, middle and lower achieving students, and in fact, while I was unashamedly targeting this program at the middle and high achievers, the lower achieving students actually seem to be gaining a benefit from it as well, which was a little unexpected, but I was grateful for. You can see that's still our average, which is below zero. We're now, with our high achievers and our middle achievers, very close to our like school groups, which I'm starting to think, that's not a bad place to be. That's a comfortable place to be. But for me, what it was really telling me was that we had something here, that there was something that we were doing that was starting to have an impact on the performance of students and their ability to succeed. Because quite frankly, we had changed nothing else. All we put in place was a deliberate, targeted teaching and learning program and practice and framework, and we'd left everything else the same. A few minor structural changes in the school, but the staff were fundamentally the same, the kids by profile were fundamentally the same. So we really rolled this out in 2008 in a big way right across the school. And we've made it part of our practice that it was going to be delivered in all faculties except maths. Thank you. This is our 2009 data. Suddenly in 2009, our value added has gone from being negative, not only from being negative, but now 2.5 times better than our like school groups, which is a staggering change. The same for our middle achieving students. Our low achieving students were also well above the like school group. So we've gone from being an underperforming school in terms of value added to a school that was performing in the top 5% of schools in the state in terms of value added. That was our accountability year. We drove the process and made sure that every member of staff, as a minimum, was trained in what we were doing, and as a maximum was implementing it consistently in their classroom. Obviously, if any program, anything that you put in place, you want it to be sustainable. So for me, moving forward from 2009, I wanted to see a similar set of data for every other year. So the next slide. So 2010, again, you can see, although the scale's been diminished, and don't worry about the middle columns, because obviously now they're our last 5 years. We are now going to be obviously positive. But again, our higher, middle and lower achieving students, and particularly our higher achieving students, were 2 times above state, or even more than 2 times above state like school groups. So that showed us it was sustainable. Again, we've tried to become a little bit more sophisticated with it. We've tried to develop it a little bit more. We've tried to focus in on the higher order skills. And in 2011, the same pattern occurred as in 2010. And for me, that moment was that maybe it's plateaued a little bit and we really need to have another look at what we were doing. We did that, and I'm sure that Max would have explained to you what happens in that, or will explain to you what happened in that case. So we were looking in 2012. Again, we got this massive increase. Again, to 3 times our like school groups with our high achieving students, and it's still a consistent performance. And in fact, these results here in terms of value added are probably in the top 1 or 2% of schools in the state. If I could show you that data in a slightly different form that may be recognisable to some of you, it was the diamonds. Those diamonds are that you would have known. You can see that sort of consistent improvement that almost mirrors the rollout of our teaching and learning practice in the school, both with our higher and middle achieving students. Our lower achieving students have always done okay, but now they're doing better than okay as well. And this represents the top 15% of schools in the state, basically, in terms of value added. And even at that stage in 2009 we were there. It's been reported differently since, Jimmy. Now that's the way the diamonds appear now. That's called a large effect size, a moderate effect size and a small effect size in the middle. You can see our diamonds for all our groups are now in the large effect size and have been since 2009. 2010. And you can see what I was saying about the fact that I felt with our high achieving students we had plateaued a bit, and even with our middle achieving students. But since then, obviously we've had that bump up again with a look at our practice, and our low achieving students in fact are now completely off the scale as far as value added data is concerned, statewide. I think the thing for me is, and what this data shows us, is that what we are doing has been effective or is being effective. I think we can continue to improve our teaching practice and teaching and learning practice. Obviously, it appears to me to be sustainable over a consistent period of time, and I commend it to you.